What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Scotty by Nature TV and my girl Gigi with the Juice, and we are here
Hey.
to see who was wrong. All right, y'all. So me and Gigi are here. We're here to talk about the feud between Kandi and Phaedra Parks. Okay, the feud that started in season 7 and it pretty much was ended at season 9. These two were once good friends, very good friends. Probably one of the most realest friendships that we had ever seen on the Housewives of Atlanta, and they fell out in a big way. So me and Gigi are here to talk about who was wrong in this situation. Was Kandi wrong? Was Phaedra wrong, or was it a draw? So we're going to go ahead and start this thing off with the big thing. Okay, so Phaedra came on the show in season 3. She came on the show in season 3. Her and Kandi began a close-knit friendship from the moment she came on the show. They were very good friends. Phaedra was in Kandi. Huh?
None, sorry. You good.
Oh, Phaedra was in Kandi's wedding. You know, Kandi was there for both of Phaedra's birth of her babies. They had a pretty close-knit relationship up until season 7.
Right.
Now, season 7, Phaedra and Apollo were going through a divorce. And for the most part, I think at the beginning, Kandi tried to tell Phaedra to go to the trial to support.
Right. But it was a 4-wheeler that broke the camel's back. It was finding out that they were harboring Apollo stuff that just set it loose.
So with this, we're gonna start there. Do you think that Kandi was stepping out of her lane when her and Phaedra was having that conversation and she was saying, I think you should go to the trial? And then she said, for what? And then Kandi was like, I don't know, to be his wife or whatever. So do you think that Kandi was wrong for giving her opinion on it, or do you think she should have just let Phaedra do her?
I mean, in most situations, let's just take like being a celebrity out of it and being on reality TV out of it. Most people, when you say, hey, my husband's going to court as a wife, typically you're going to show up.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't know why as a wife you wouldn't show up unless you know your husband did it. And that's why I'm feeling like Phaedra didn't show up is because she knew, even though she's been playing that, Southern Peach act, I feel like Phaedra knew all along that Apollo was doing some dirt. And I just think that she didn't want to hear it from Kandi, that she should be, there to support, because then it would taint her, good old Southern hospitality, facade.
I definitely agree with that. I've always said that. I have definitely said that from the very beginning. I have always felt like Phaedra knew. If she didn't know everything, she knew something. Like, you can't tell me she didn't know nothing about it. Like, you living in a, like, it is possible to live in a house with somebody and not know certain things that's going on. That is possible. But something that big, she knew something.
For sure. I mean, first of all, women, like, we're just such, especially somebody who's a mom, you micromanage stuff. Like, you are paying attention to little details. And so for me, a lot of people had the same question mark when Apollo, I don't know if you remember, but at the pajama party, when everybody was there and he bragged about how much he threw at the strip club, he was like, man, I threw, like $7 grand in one night at the strip club. And everybody was like, Apollo, where you get $7 grand from, bruh? Like, where did $7K come from? Because you an ex-con, like you inmate, bruh. So, and we know your credit sure can't be over 600. So, where'd you get $7,000 from? And I think at that point, Phaedra knew the jig was up. And if everybody else is looking at your husband like, where did you get $7,000 from? You, as his wife, wouldn't you be looking at him like, where did you get $7,000 from too?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying too. Okay, so I think after that, that's pretty much what started the downward spiral in their friendship. So I remember there was a scene where Apollo admitted to Kenya that she never saw him in LA. and then it came back to Kandi, and Kandi kind of went off on Apollo, and then they all met up for dinner. Kandi invited everybody out to dinner, and she pretty much said that when the stuff happened with Kenya and Apollo, everybody believed that that's what happened. But I feel like we should continue to put this on her when he's already owned up to the fact that it wasn't true.
Right.
Nene asked the question basically saying, do you support Phaedra or do you support Apollo? Now, when I was at work, I was listening to old clips kind of to refresh myself on this situation. So I see a lot of people when it come down to Kandi and Phaedra's relationship, they always say Kandi took Apollo's side. Do you feel as though with her in this particular moment right here, when she's trying to pretty much let everybody know, Apollo lied on Kenya, you know what I mean? And when she's telling everybody that he lied on Kenya, Nene was like, do you support Phaedra or Apollo? In that moment, do you think that Kandi was supporting Apollo in that particular moment? Because I never understood where that question came from with Nene's, because I never felt like that was a supporting Apollo conversation.
I don't think so from what I recall either. I don't never recall a moment where after Apollo at the reunion admitted, like, I was out of line, saying those things about Kenya, everybody kind of had the same reaction of like, damn, we dog Kenya out. We were looking at her as, side-eye, because like, bitch, you look like you coming after somebody's husband. So, I don't remember a moment where Kandi was just like, oh, now we just all gonna, ride for Apollo. And then for Nene to ask that, I don't know what they wanted the answer to be. I guess you could say, like, what were you looking for, Kandi and everybody to say? I mean, once we all admit that, okay, hey, we messed up Kenya, like, were they wanting them to, like, just go after, like, against Apollo completely, like, totally not mess with him, or what? I don't feel like it was about, picking sides. I didn't get that, like, feeling either.
I didn't either.
She was picking any sides.
I never got that either. Okay, so after that, it was pretty much being said, okay? This was right before the Dr. Jeff thing, I believe. But then again, right before the Dr. Jeff thing. And they met up at this Mexican restaurant, and all the girls was there except for Phaedra. And Kandi felt like she didn't have any issues with anyone. But Nene Portia convinced her that she should go because you and Phaedra have not been close. So when she said that, Kandi was confused. So it was obvious that Phaedra had been speaking about her feelings towards Kandi to Nene and Portia. Why else would they even say that? So at this point, Kandi is being blindsided at this point. She doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. And in the confessional, Portia was like, no. What was it? She said to Kandi in her face, she was like, I feel like you should be 100% Phaedra, but it feels like you're divided. And in the confessional, Portia said, I just think that Kandi needs to choose. She's either going to be over here with Phaedra or she's going to be over there with her husband and Apollo.
Right.
So in that particular moment, for me, and I'm going to let you say what you think about that. In that particular moment, that's when because people don't believe me, but there was a time and place where I used to love both Portia and Phaedra. I was completely team Portia and Phaedra.
I think a lot of people did.
Yes, and it was this particular season where my head began to turn. As I explained the same thing to Aaron when we filmed our Who Was Wrong, I was like, this was the season where my head began to turn. So what I don't like, and I've been through this before, what I don't like is if a person has an issue with me, they go and tell everybody their issue, but they don't tell me about the issue. So I'm looking like a fool because I don't know what's really going on here. Like, you're saying this behind my back, but you're not telling me to my face. So it makes me wonder what's really going on. Why are you doing this? Why are you discussing me with Nene, somebody who we've had issues with for many, many years, but all of a sudden they're your new bestie. I can understand you talking to Portia about it, but even then, don't be talking to Portia about it. This is between you and me. So if you got a problem with me, come to me. So in that particular moment, I completely understood where Kandi was coming from, because Kandi was blindsided like hell. And I've been through at that particular time, I felt Kandi, because I was going through a situation just like that, where I had two friends like Nene and Portia. I had two friends coming to me saying, you and such and such need to talk. I'm like, why? We haven't even had no issue. Like, we haven't argued. Like, nothing has happened. So why do we need to talk? Well,
Right.
he told me this and he told me that. I'm like, but he never said that to me. So it's just like, what's going on? So in that instance, completely understood where Kandi was coming from. Now, here you go. Now, let's go with your opinion on this. What you think about that?
Okay, one, I'll start with there definitely was a time where we saw the freaking frack, when that inception kind of happened. And we did like freaking frack. They had good energy, like there was something about them that was entertaining. But
Mm-hmm.
freaking frack started because of the fracture, of that whole Apollo and Kandi situation. And that's when we started to be able to look at, Portia, first of all, as an opportunist, because she saw that they were going through their stuff, their turmoil, and then also with Phaedra, because how is it that now you're just kind of sliding your way over here to Portia and then just ghosting out Kandi as if this isn't somebody that you had a real genuine friendship with?
Mm-hmm.
So, like these people showed up to your baby shower, when you was, 7, 6, 8, 9 months pregnant, whichever one, born in spring, summer, fall. So, these people showed up for you. So yeah, that part I would start there. But I just think that what did Phaedra want from Kandi is what she should have started with. Like Phaedra should have went to Kandi and said, hey, I'm feeling this way, this way, this way. Cause that way I'm not out here thinking I'm your friend. Like I would feel blindsided too. I would hate to be going into a situation thinking I'm about to see my friend, we're gonna have dinner, catch up, and two people come to me like, girl, but she was talking about you, like, she wasn't saying some good stuff, especially if you feel like you've been supportive. Because I do think Kandi felt like she could support, Apollo and Phaedra at the same time. Like, I think a lot of people get confused in that two truths can exist at one time, or two things can happen at the same time. And a lot of what Kandi supporting Apollo had to deal with was the fact that Todd was his friend. Todd was really good friends with Apollo. So you are getting mad at Kandi, which she brought up for something that Todd was really more of the one facilitating. Like, Todd was holding his, stuff with his homeboy, and Kandi's not gonna sit there and just like, not agree with her husband or not like talk to, try to help facilitate something. But Phaedra, that's where she definitely showed her true colors, and just icing out Kandi and not talking to her. And that's where the snowball effect happened. Because like, don't blindside me, especially if I feel like I'm your friend, I've been defending you,
Right.
or been supporting you in some type of way. And if we're truly friends, I should be able to tell you something. And even if you don't agree with what I'm saying, or if I don't agree with what you're saying, like agree to disagree, and we find, a middle ground, or we just, leave it at that. But don't go talking behind my back, bitch, because now I'm like, okay, now you the ops. Like we cannot, like, we can
That
disagree, but don't start acting like the ops.
that is the one thing that will listen. That is the one thing that would make me not want to fuck with you ever in life. And it could be an Aquarius thing. It could It could be, but when I feel betrayed by someone that I ain't been nothing but loyal to, and they go and talk behind my back, that is the one thing that really grinds my gears. There's a lot of things that I can forgive. But when
Yes.
I feel like I've been nothing but a genuine friend to you, and I've been expressing myself to you and telling you what I want from the friendship and what I need from you, or I'm even giving you the opportunity to tell me what you need from me, but you decide to
Mm-hmm.
go and talk about me behind my back and then be all up in my face like everything is cool. That's weird to me. So that leads me to this conversation that Kandi had with Phaedra. So Kandi confronted Phaedra about what Nene and Portia was saying. And, when she asked Phaedra, you know, I was told this, and I wanted to know, were we good, and was there a problem? And Phaedra was like, "No, we're good. You know, it is
Right.
good, you
Just
know."
fake as hell.
And so when she did that, and Candy's sitting there crying to her about it, and she just sitting there like, we're good. That is another thing. And once again, I got to take it back to that particular friendship. That was going. I'm telling you, that whole season was going on during that time. I was dealing with my own friendship. So I too confronted that same friend I just mentioned and asked him, is there something going on? Did I do something to you? Did I say something wrong? Because if I did, I can. If I made you feel any type of way or whatever, I can
Right.
apologize. It's
Yeah,
not.
let me rectify that. Don't
Yes,
just
I can
just
rectify
completely
it.
ice me. Yeah.
Yes, I can rectify it and say, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Whatever. Easy. But when I asked him, no, ain't no problem. No, we good. I don't know what they talking about. It's all good between me and you. Like if we ever had an issue, I would have told you that. No, we ain't got no problem. So I'm confused. Cause I'm like, okay, are they lying? Are
And
they
that would piss me off more because if I'm your friend, like tell me, like
yeah,
tell me, what, like I help me, help you, help us, like
yeah.
if we can be
So it's
friends,
it's kind of like, okay, they just told me you got an issue with me about
right?
something. And I come to you and say you don't have one. So now you got me confused because now I'm looking at you funny. Then I'm looking at them funny because I don't know who to
Right.
believe.
And now I
So
don't even know who ass I need to get into because now y'all playing with me. Like,
exactly. So when I came to my other two friends, they was like, "What? That is not what he told us." I don't have a reason to lie. I have the text messages, and they showed me the
mhm,
text messages, and it was the truth. Like it was facts. So I felt I was so pissed in that moment because obviously you was talking about this girl to Nene and Portia for them to even say that to Kandi, and when she come
right.
in your face and ask you about it, oh no, we good, we good.
Phaedra does that, that typical bless your heart, southern stuff where it's like you try to, keep it cute when you out in public and then you basically talk behind people's back at the kitchen table on the telephone, like, yeah, girl, she ain't nothing but a bitch. Can you believe that she had my husband stuff over there at her damn house while he going through this case and all yada yada yada. And it's
Exactly.
like, okay, now I'm gonna be even more mad, especially if I've given you the opportunity to tell me that something was wrong. And that's where Phaedra kept messing up because Kandi kept asking time and time again, like, okay, people keep coming to me saying that you have an issue with me, and I'm asking you, but you're not saying nothing. And Phaedra never ever was like, hey, until it was a while ago. I don't even think it was until the reunion when actually Andy brought up the fact that, hey, we heard, through the what is it, like they sent the mail in basically finding out because they ended up finding his stuff at Kandi and Todd's house. I think they put that in the file that they found it. And that's how Phaedra found out about it. So, okay, now you find out that their stuff is there and Andy asked Phaedra how she felt about it. Then she wants to admit, like, well, I did kind of feel some way. And that's when Candy's like, but bitch, I asked you. Like, you could have told me you felt some type of way, and then I could have explained to you, hey, that was really more Todd than it was me. And that wouldn't have had to affect our friendship. First of all, why are you mad that I even holding his four-wheelers and stuff anyways? Like, what really has you mad about us holding stuff for your husband? Remember, your husband. Like, why you mad about your husband's stuff not being, why you want his stuff to be confiscated, Phaedra? But secretly, I think she wanted Apollo ass gone so she could move on because he was tainting her little, preacher kid, look. And everybody knew you was having sex with him on the air mattress when he got out of jail, Phaedra. I mean, you weren't playing nobody. So you wasn't playing nobody, Phaedra. So I mean, okay, got it. Ex-con dick. That's what you want. Blow your back out on the air mattress, but don't sit there and lie, and then you get pregnant, and then tell somebody, you do in some spring, summer, fall. Like, we're not doing that with you. Like, we're not doing that, Phaedra.
Well, well, at the season 7 reunion, that's when it all came downhill once again for them because Kandi had seen everything. Kandi was like, during this whole time, when we would talk, I never got that from you. So when I seen it on TV, I was blindsided. I was confused by it. And you gonna talk to Nene and Portia about me. But before I even get to the reunion part, I forgot this part. So when they was at dinner and Kenya confronted her about Mr. Chocolate, and then Phaedra was finna pull the Jennifer Hudson and hit her with a pocketbook and stuff like that. And Kandi was the last one to leave out. And then it was brought up in a conversation the next day with Portia and Phaedra being at dinner. And you know what I'm saying? Portia made the comment saying, you and I are definitely close, but we're not as close as you and Kandi. And I feel like she should have been a little bit more vocal. I mentioned this when me and Aaron did ours, and I felt like Portia was inserting herself in a situation instead of being the person to being a neutral party, because you are friends with both of them. Mm-hmm. So instead of being a neutral party, you're giving an opinion on a situation. Instead of bringing the two together, you're helping tear them apart, because you see them being torn apart, and have you ever seen like a pair of jeans and they already ripped, but then a baby comes in and jacks on them and rip them up some more? That's what he was doing. And I felt like it didn't help that Portia was doing it, and it didn't help that Nene had opinions either. And you got both of them in your ear, but you're not talking to your friend.
Portia definitely saw a moment to like, ooh, I see a crack, let me get in there, because Portia's always been out for self. If there's anything we've learned about Portia history and what's definitely been going on lately, the bitch is always out for self. So she saw that as an opportunity to get in there. And then you ended up looking stupid and getting used, when the whole thing came out about the goddamn allegations. You ended up looking like Boo Boo the Fool. But the fact that it even got to that point, like, lets you know that, like, first of all, y'all two, Phaedra and Portia, would just basically, their friendship was based on talking shit about the other ladies. Like, y'all weren't really, really friends because y'all never overcame that whole allegation stuff. And then Kandi was in tears. I remember at one point, I think, talking to Phaedra about, like, feeling like, hey, I feel some type of way because, like, we really friends outside of this show. Like, there are very, few times where TV shows actually have like friends like outside of it, and they were actually friends. So I think Phaedra probably was one of those people. She's one of those people who, like, when she sees like a little bit of, like, I don't know, maybe just a little bit of angst in between something, she'd rather like exit out than just deal with it and fix it. And she felt it was easier to just cut off with Kandi than it was to actually do the work to fix it. And that's kind of been her MO. You'd rather cut off your husband than do the work and fix it. You'd rather cut off Kandi than do the work and fix it. You'd rather, cut off Portia at the sign of her getting busted on your account than work on it and fix it. Like, Phaedra's always like, let me just go where I look the cleanest, let me go where I look the best. And now here it is. I mean, you've kind of gone down in history as one of the, if not like top 3 worst housewives, like, of scandals, because when that came out that you lied and it was you, like, everybody was like, clutch my pearls. Like, she said, when Portia said, I don't know, you need to ask Phaedra. And everybody says, Phaedra, like, Kandi was like, Phaedra, like, bitch, all along.
Right. You said that? That's what she said. So basically at the season 7 reunion, it was pretty much Kandi confront her, basically saying, like, I never got that from you. You never told me. When I confronted you, you said it was no issue, but you're talking to Nene and Portia about me. But then Nene and Portia say, she never talked to us about you. And I'm just like, she had to say something to y'all about her. Like, she had y'all to come at her with that shit. She had to say something to y'all, but I digress. So I think by the time we get to season 8, Kandi and Phaedra finally had their conversation at the beginning of the season. Phaedra mentioned the stuff about Apollo stuff being in her house, and she felt some kind of way about Apollo stuff being in her house. Now, whenever this comes out, I know that I'm probably going to get stoned for saying this, but I really don't understand what the big deal was. I mean, maybe, I don't know if it was a legal thing that she was upset about, but I didn't see the big deal, because if it were me and my husband, and his friend and we're breaking up, and his friend want to come and get his shit out my house. I'm good.
Exactly.
Get it out. You know.
Why does it matter where the hell it went as long as it off my property? And like, I'm assuming your name wasn't on none of the shit because they took it. Like, so your name wasn't on nothing. It's his stuff. I mean, I'm confused because it's your husband. Like, why would you not want him to have something? That okay, if he owed his money, hell, at least he could start selling the ATVs and dirt bikes and whatever back to pay back these people money that he done stole for the second, third goddamn time. Clearly, nigga didn't learn a lesson. So it's like, I don't understand why Phaedra was upset. And if it was a thing that you were upset, why not just tell Kandi, hey, is there maybe somewhere else you could put my husband's stuff? Or, I know you are doing this because of Todd, or maybe just speak with Todd. Like Phaedra could have spoke with Todd about how she felt about him, like, and having their stuff over there. But at the end of the day,
she felt like Kandi should have told her about it. But in Kandi's mind, she already knew about it. They was living in the same house, so she assumed that Phaedra knew about it. And on top of that, they really wasn't on the best of terms when it happened anyway. So she wouldn't be so quick to call her. But at the same time, I mean, I guess I can understand it from Phaedra's point of view here, because it's like, okay, you should have told me. But then again, I could understand it from Kandi's point of view as well, because I would have been like, I thought you already knew about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, why would your husband not tell you, hey, I'm going to move some stuff out. I'm going to move it over here. Like, if you in a household with somebody, typically, you would speak to your spouse. But I mean, if there's anything we've learned from, relationships on TV, bitches be lying. Everybody be lying, and they be telling their spouse whatever they, want. So, but that's not Kandi's fault, though. Like, you can't sit there and blame Kandi because your husband didn't tell you about him, hiding or stalking or whatever, he had over there. But I think it was their beef and their feud. Honestly, it could have been avoided simply with Phaedra just saying straight to Kandi's face instead of going around robin talking to everybody. But I think that's what Phaedra wanted. She wanted to taint somebody else because what she was going through tainted her. Like, everybody was looking at Phaedra sideways because how do you not know your husband is stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like, what is he coming in the house in? Like, weren't you noticing him making any type of purchases? Like, because you're a lawyer. Lawyer, Phaedra, lawyer. In famous words of Medea, you are a lawyer. So how are you not noticing anything with your husband? So I think that's what Phaedra wanted. She wanted somebody else to look bad. So it could be like, look over there, don't pay attention to me. Right. And you lost actually a really good friend over that, because you don't hear anybody as far as talking about friendship wise about Kandi in a negative way.
Yeah, that's the thing. You never hear that. So after that, that was pretty much the biggest thing that they had going on in season 8, because anything else that was talked about at the reunion. And Phaedra, they brought up the fact that she was upset about the things being at Kandi's house, and Kandi saying that, I assume you knew it was there. I didn't think it was a big secret at all, or whatever. Kandi mentioned how she didn't like how she was saying that Todd was scraping for change and all this other stuff. So then we get into season 9, and this is when it really hit a breaking point. I think something happened. Well, they were pretty much cordial at first, but then something pretty much happened with Mama Joyce mentioning at the OLG tasting that, Drama said that he was going to blow you the F up or something like that. And so that's when, Phaedra wanted to sit down with Kandi to discuss what happened with Mama Joyce. But Kandi had another agenda. And she said, you think that we can just come here and talk about what I did wrong to you, but we can't talk about what you did wrong to me? No, ma'am. So then she was saying that we be in each other's faces, you good, but you always have a lot to say when I'm not around. You've been talking about my family, you've been talking about my husband. And then Phaedra was like, well, it's not like you've never said nothing about me to Cynthia and to Peter. And then that's when Kandi was like, well, you was talking to other people. No. She said that when you was going through this, you was going through that, but you never said nothing to me about it. You was talking to other people about it. You wasn't talking to me about it. So then, Phaedra was like, you were making it, but my thing is, you are making it light. And then Kandi was like, I'm making it light because you made it light to me. Because when we would talk, you would say that you already talked to somebody, you're gonna be married to somebody in the new year. And then
Mm-hmm.
you said Apollo relieved you because he was giving you drama at the time and you was ready for him to damn go. And then Phaedra was like, no matter what's going on in a marriage, it still doesn't, you can't tell me that it doesn't come with emotions. And Kandi was like, let's just stop. Let's just stop because I don't want to say nothing crazy to you. And
Right.
then Phaedra kept going, and then Kandi just put it all on blast. And in so many words, she basically said, you were sitting up here making me look like a bad friend. You were sitting up here making me look like I just wasn't there for you. You was going through all of this crazy stuff. You was so hurt by this marriage being over. But you talking to a whole nother nigga the entire time, talking about you finna marry him and all this other crazy stuff. But you want me to look bad in front of everybody so you can look good in front of everybody.
That's what it
That's
was.
and that's why I was completely done with Phaedra at that particular moment because I'm like, don't use me as a scapegoat. And that's
Right.
exactly what she said in that scene. She was like, I mean, what can I say? She said, there are people who are looked down upon because they don't support their husbands in jail or whatever. And I just tried to let it go, but don't use me as a scapegoat. And I personally felt like she did use Kandi as the scapegoat in this particular situation because you did make it seem like you was so hurt, you was down and out about it. But according to Kandi, when y'all would talk about it, she never got that from you. You was
Right.
talking to a whole other man the whole time. So the Mr. Chocolate shit was true, which is why when you tried to hit Kenya with that purse, Kandi was looking a certain type of way because she was looking like, God damn, how they find out about Mr. Chocolate? I believe it was because she knew about Mr. Chocolate the entire time and she kept it to herself up until Phaedra made her look crazy. Now, for
Right.
me personally, now I'm not saying that Kandi was right for putting her on blast on national TV like that because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff. I'm telling you, there is a lot of stuff about people that have done me wrong, and I have never in my life
It's
told
like,
this.
but I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Like,
That's
don't keep
that's
keep
true.
going. And like, how much do you want me to take of you trying to make me look bad? Because
Right.
then when I hit you with the okie doke and be like, checkmate, bitch, now you looking at me like, what you do that for? But it's like, wait a minute. How long am I supposed to tolerate you trying to make me look like I'm the problem for one, and I'm the reason that you going through what you're going through, and I'm the one that's making you look bad, but you making yourself look bad because you sitting here, trying to say to everybody else or say to me that we good, we good, we good, and then three people come to me talking about, girl, she talking shit about you, and then you want to say I'm out here like you trying to make me look bad, but I know your dirt. Like I'm trying to keep it as a friend. I think a lot of people do try to keep it like, let me keep it hush, let me keep it cute, like let me not get in the dirt with Phaedra. But Phaedra was one of those characters, but just she tried to play dumb a lot of times. And for me, a trigger for me is playing on my intelligence. Like, don't play on
It's
my intelligence like I'm
the
stupid.
gas.
Like I don't see what you like. I know you see. I see what you're doing. Like, don't do
Right.
that.
It's the
And
gas.
Phaedra did that a lot of times.
It's the gaslighting. I cannot stand for a person to play in my face when I know what's going on. Please don't play with me. That's why I can't
Oh,
stand Phaedra now because it's the gaslighting. You know exactly what you said. You know exactly what you did. Why are you playing with me right now? Don't do that. And that's what was making me mad about it. So after that, we pretty much knew that at that point, sitting at that table, Phaedra had already thought about her next plot. So next thing you know, it was mentioned about what Shamia said about Phaedra trying to get with her husband. And then Phaedra said that Shamia and Kandi were fucking. Then after
yeah.
that, then after that, I think something else had happened, I believe. At the OLG, Todd invited
The
Apollo.
girl, they invited the girlfriend or like basically the girlfriend at the time. Aren't they still engaged
I think they are. And
now?
then after that, Kandi saw Phaedra. She apologized to Phaedra about it.
Yeah.
But then Phaedra met with Johnny to do that case with him, and she wouldn't tell
Yeah.
anybody about it. But you saying you can't speak on it, but you spoke on it on national TV in front of a camera. Okay, Phaedra. All right.
Right.
So then we get to the reunion, which is where all this stuff really comes to a close at. And they were arguing back and forth about everything that happened at the reunion until it was revealed that Phaedra was the mastermind behind this whole drug game
Yeah.
with Kandi and Portia. So
Mm-hmm.
in that particular moment, I felt like no matter what happened between us, yeah, we were friends, yeah, we fell out, but I would never sit there and make up a lie about you, especially
Right.
one that would damage your character. I would never. That's I people say I'm loyal to a fault because there's so many people I could air the fuck out after they've done so much shit to me, and I've never aired them out. But I just don't have it in me to make up something about somebody.
Like that, to that extent,
Yeah.
that's like career damaging, like money affecting, like everything. And
Yes.
then what was even more annoying is when Portia finally said, "Oh, don't ask me no more questions, ask Phaedra." And Phaedra sat there on mute. Like everybody's looking at Phaedra. "Oh, all I care about is if Portia's okay." Bitch, fuck Portia. Like she not the one that got like, ma'am, talk to me. What do you mean you not worried about how I feel? You just had Portia attacked. Like she was going for Kandi's jugular, and then I tied his name is so and so, and that's why you wanted to drug and take me back to your dungeon. I don't. Portia wasn't believing none of it. Like she didn't. You could tell Portia wasn't believing what she was saying, but on account of being Phaedra's friend, like she was just spewing whatever Phaedra told her. But if you gonna go that far and for your friend, like Phaedra really hung Portia out to dry when that happened. But how do you do that to Kandi? Like somebody who never went that far with you. Like Kandi never took it. Like basically, Phaedra went to hell. Like she was like, forget going low. She went straight to the pits of hell. Besides Satan, and then you never apologize. Like you after Kandi gave her so many chances. Like Phaedra, is there something you want to say? Like, and she just stood there. I mean, we just. I mean, Portia, are you okay? Like why you keep asking about Portia? Girl, she not the one that's gonna have some issues like I am. And she never apologized. And that just goes to show like Phaedra's character. She's always looking for she's always trying to make sure she has the next thing in her back pocket just to throw out there in case she gets caught up. Like she's always looking for that joker, like to slap on the table, like, gimme gotcha. But it's like, ma'am, ain't nobody trying to play this game with you.
Exactly. So I guess we could say this. I guess we get to this point right here. I think it goes beyond who was wrong. Before I ask who was wrong, to close this out, how do you feel about people now saying that? Well, not really saying, but when Kandi is asked if Phaedra comes on the show, will you stay? Kandi says, "I'll leave if she comes." I'm not saying that she can't come. I'm
Right.
just saying if she comes, I won't be there. How do you feel about what are your thoughts and opinions on people who says, "Oh, Kandi need to get over it and let her come back to the show. Just get the fuck
Okay,
over."
you be a billionaire and have somebody come for your coin and ducket, and we'll see how you feel then. Kandi got money, like singer songwriter money,
Right.
and an allegation like that, somebody drugging and taking you down to their dungeon, especially as a black person, they be ready to cancel, and black women at that, they be ready to cancel. Had it not it been for like the fact that people knew it was just like it was kind of like, come on now, Kandi don't even drink for one. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like, had it not been for that, but I'm not mad at Kandi. Like she's not doing anything that's like crazy. She's just establishing her boundary. And my boundary is this is a woman who never apologized. Like she is yet to still like why would you be around somebody who's never apologized to you, never sent a text message, hey, my bad, like, maybe we can make up, like nothing. So if I feel like it's in my best interest not to be around this person, then okay, just remove herself from the situation. And I don't think that's wrong to say I would just prefer to remove myself from the situation because it could get dirty. I think because Kandi is still maybe kind of in her gut feeling some type of way about it. If she got around Phaedra, I think she would let loose and let have like all those, harbored feelings of feeling like, girl, all of this really could have been avoided had you just came up to me instead of talking shit behind my back. Like all of this could have been avoided. So I personally don't feel like she's doing too much. But I guess to people it feels like, oh, you just film a show together, like y'all even gotta be in the same room or like whatever. But I mean, everybody's entitled to what they feel like is best for them. And I'm like I said, wait till somebody start making out, sexual assault allegations about you and see how you feel.
They won't like that. So for me, I don't think she's wrong for feeling the way she do. I mean, I personally don't like being around people that's done stuff to me. Like if it's some people, for me, it's levels to my dislike for you. I always tell people that it's levels to my dislike. You got 3 levels. Level 1, I can be in the same room with you. I can be cordial. I can say hello and keep walking. I can say hello, maybe have a small conversation and keep walking. You know what I mean? That's level 1 of my dislike for you. Level 2, I can be in the same room with you, but I'm not talking to you.
Right, don't look this way.
Like, don't talk to me, don't speak to me, like just pretend like I'm not there. You're dead to me. I don't want no parts of you. We can be here in this room. We could be not really cordial, but I can tolerate your presence. But over there, if you see me at the bar, don't come to the bar. If I see you at the bar, I ain't coming to the bar. I'm waiting to leave. I don't want to be nowhere near you. Level 3, I don't want to be around you, period. I don't want to be around you. Like if you having a party and I find out that person gonna be there, I ain't coming. Like I don't want to be around.
Just the essence agitates my spirit. Like I definitely have the people where you be like, just the thought agitates your spirit. Like my soul don't even feel right.
It's a guy that worked with me and I could not stand him. Everything about him irritated me. Like it's the way he walked would irritate me. The sound of his voice would irritate me. Him pushing the door open would get under my
knock the door.
Everything about him just used to irk me because I couldn't stand him. You know what I mean? So when it gets to that point, I don't need to be around you. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to who was wrong in this particular situation, who do you think was wrong for the demise of Kandi versus Phaedra? Was it Kandi? Was it Phaedra? Or do you think it was a draw and they both could have done better at fixing the relationship?
I mean, I think in this situation, it's a unanimous of Phaedra, 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 Phaedra. For the people in the back, Phaedra, Phaedra. I don't know if we need to sign language, Phaedra. It was for the demise of Kandi and Phaedra friendship. Point blank in the story, control, alt delete, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
I agree. I don't think that Kandi was completely innocent in it, but to me, when you make up a lie like Phaedra did, it just trumps anything Kandi could do. Like there was no excuse for her to do that. Like people try to make excuses for well, Kandi took Apollo's side over hers, and that's why she did that. No, that's not a reason. Kandi took Apollo's side by, hiding his stuff at her house. That's still not a good enough reason to make up a lie like that. I feel like there is nothing that a person could do that to make me make up something like that. So I always say Phaedra was wrong completely. This whole situation.
If you run across somebody who say, "Oh, Kandi was wrong," and bitch, I don't trust you. I need to get out the room from you because
exactly
the same room with you because girl, now bitch, I'm side eyeing you. It'll give you my good eye because girl.
Anybody that supports Phaedra and supports that, I look at them crazy because I'm like, so that means if we have a falling out, you will do that to me. Like, ain't no way in hell I can support that. But with that being said, I want to thank Gigi with the juice for coming up here doing this with me. This was a lot of fun.
I know. Super excited to collaborate with you. I, like talking mess about these hoes.
Of course. So let the people know where they can find you and all that other good stuff.
Of course, my YouTube channel is Gigi with the Juice, obviously, but you can follow my Instagram and Twitter as well at GGDoll0321 and follow my backup Instagram because sometimes IG be playing. They totally took my other one down, but so I made up a backup one and you can follow that one at GGDoll_for real.
All right, you guys, but that's it for Who Was Wrong. Be sure to tune in for the next one, and we are out of here, y'all. Till next time, peace out.